Oh, USS Abraham Lincoln is pretty much close to Iran, is ready to engage, and Trump has a chance to finally take out the Iranian regime, or at least attempt to, and I think with a great amount of success, to overthrow a regime that has been trying to fight and destroy America pretty much since its founding. Now, is this truly an attempt where Trump might, uh, together with Israel, try to destroy the Iranian regime? Or is this, like with many other things that we've seen generally from Trump, just another attempt to get some sort of a deal? So basically, is it regime change or is it Obama 2.0? Welcome to the Daily Objective. My name is Daniel, and I'll be taking you through last few days or the last week or so when it came to sort of the Iranian issue, specifically coming with Trump, and what we might actually see happening. We've seen both sort of what is it, saber-toothing or something like that. Basically, Trump basically giving us some idea that he might actually attack Iran, but also we've seen a lot of potentially deal making, potentially negotiations. Specifically, it looks like on this Friday, the U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff will meet with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. I'm not good with pronunciation. To discuss the nuclear agreement. So we'll talk about that agreement. We'll talk about the attack itself, and we'll talk about some of the things that I think people miss when it comes to discussions on this topic. So let's start, I think, with the most important part. Why is Iran an enemy? So when the current Iranian regime came into power, the Islamic Republic of Iran, it started by taking American hostages. So basically, from day one, they've declared their an animosity towards America and desire to destruct it. In the following decades, they created Hezbollah, or they basically were the first founder of Hezbollah and are still funding it. Then later they started supporting the Houthis, and generally then of course Hamas, and generally are supporting a lot of terrorist organizations, US designated terrorist organizations in the region, to fight against American interests, to kill Americans. I mean, we can look at the Hezbollah barracks bombing where Hezbollah murdered Americans and French people, French citizens. We can look at October 7, where again American citizens were taken as hostages, some of them who have not been released until basically last year, as well as many European hostages, or hostages from or citizens from all around the world. We can take a look at the Houthis, who are attacking international shipping with a precise goal of attacking international shipping. And even when you look at Iran itself, we see assassination attempts, we see cyber warfare coming from Iran. Iran does have one of the most sophisticated sort of cyber warfare scene when it comes to countries around the world. So Iran is telling everybody America is an enemy, and by the extension, everybody in the West is enemy of Iran. So when it comes to the main purpose of governments, which is the defending the rights of their own citizens, most primarily, or to some extent, or to large extent, from internal threats, of course. So just somebody trying to take away your property or trying to kill you, your fellow citizen or somebody inside the country, but of course defend from external threats, like in this example, Iran. So America has, you start with the main goal, which is defend the rights of their own people, so protect the lives of their own people, and then you take it to the extension you have to. If Iran is an enemy, it's an enemy that has to be dealt with. Now, maybe you don't have to go after every single dictatorship. Potentially, every dictatorship is a threat, since they do not respect the rights of their own citizens. So they have no reason to respect the rights of citizens of other countries. But it's not automatic that America has to go after every single country. But when it comes to Iran, I think there is no deal you could make, and we'll talk about deal a bit more a bit later into a show. But I don't think Iran is an enemy that can be ignored and that you can get away with by ignoring. We've seen, like I've said, Trump has had several assassination attempts on him by the RGC, by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's no, it's no. There is no running away from it, no matter how much people would try to hide from it. We have a super chat from Bonnie. Thank you so much. And I see people. Somebody is asking, is it confirmed that they tried to assassinate Trump? My understanding is yes. This is coming from the Department. I'm not sure if Department of State or Department of Justice, but I think there was a report in 2024 that somebody working for IRGC has been working in America in order to assassinate. I think he had more even broadly, just not even specifically Trump, but some politically important people in or like some politicians in America, but I think there was one specific act with Trump. So this is what we have from, I believe, Department of Justice. So I'm working with that information. So again, if America believes that there are Iranian attempts or RGC attempts to assassinate American leaders, and I think even broadly, I think this came from when this report came out. I think I remember Biden coming out and saying, if Iran assassinates Trump, I think he even named Trump, there would be a response from it. Now, I think this was a weak response even in that. I mean, it's great to have that response, right? If American leaders or even potential leaders, since this was when Trump was just nominee, are assassinated by a foreign state, we will respond. By we, I mean America. There should be absolutely a response. So, sorry, I think we have that. But I think it was a weak response in that we shouldn't wait for like Western leaders to get assassinated for the West to recognize the threat. In the same way, Israel didn't have to wait for October 7th to actually do some response in Gaza. America doesn't have to wait for some attack from Iran to destroy the Iranian state or to attempt. Again, we can discuss which particular way it should be done, but I think the justification is fully there. So I think we can listen to one of the Trump's statements. I think this was from a few days ago, and I wanted to go this one.
We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now, even larger than what we had in Venezuela. It's still in front of Venezuela. The Venezuelan.
So, as I've said, this was Trump from a few days ago. He said what I basically said, that the US is pretty much ready to engage in Iran. Now, the fact that those ships weren't there already in the region to basically be able to even position itself against Iran, I think is unfortunate. But the fact is they are there now, and I think response is warranted and is ready. Now, when it came to this, I mean, maybe just for information, so we have the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is an aircraft carrier, one of the 10 nuclear-powered U.S. aircraft carriers, which belongs to the largest category of warships. So we are talking about a heavyweight. We are not talking about something small. People maybe have seen the picture on the thumbnail. We don't know exact locations of all of these ships. It's sort of just general, but they are in the region and they are ready to engage. Now, there was a response from Iran, or specifically from X account of Iranian mission to the UN in New York, from all people. They've said, Last time the US blundered into wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, it squandered over 7 trillion and lost more than 7,000 American lives. Iran stands ready for dialogue based on mutual respect and interest, but if pushed, it will defend itself and respond like never before. This last line was in caps lock. So we have Iranian response. Now, I'm not gonna like super agree with the criticism coming from Iran. I think, funnily enough, yeah, I think Iraq and Afghanistan were wrong wars, but precisely because it wasn't Iran that should have been targeting. Iran was the one country that should have been targeted after 9/11 and hasn't been. So in a sense, I would agree with or I would agree to some extent, because I think even in Afghanistan, I think that was the reason uh, for some involvement, but that's besides the point. Iran should have been, and now Iran tries to say it's ready for dialogue based on mutual respect and interest. Not all countries are the same. The fact is that when it comes to Western countries dealing with other countries, I'm not saying that we shouldn't like recognize certain legitimacy of countries because they are not like part of what we call the West or something in that regard. What the countries that America should deal with are the ones that are legitimate, are the ones that have respect for individual rights. America deals with a lot of dictatorships that I don't like. That's why I don't want to add Iran to the top or as another country. Iran or America, has dealings with Jordan, has dealings with, I mean, just talking about like in the region, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar. All of those. I don't think any of those are beneficial to America. I don't think America should deal with dictatorships, even if you could say that maybe these countries are not outright enemies right now. I think it's more of a question of time, specifically because of the nature of dictatorships. Either they have to reform and they become legitimate, or they will have a problem with America at some point. That's what we've seen with every single dictatorship. I don't think you can find a single exception. Um, Somebody says this is powerful part of the US. Trump says he's going to attack and then spend weeks getting organized. No need for surprises. Iran has no way to prepare, no matter how much warning time they get. I mean, yeah, that's definitely fair. I mean, Iran tries to say that now it's ready more than it has ever been. I think I'm not sure if I saved that quote, but I've seen the quote that uh, if there is a war, Iran can destroy 50% of capabilities of its enemies in the first phase. I, I, I don't know where they got that from. As far as we know, like Iran during the 12-day war, Iran has been completely like taken apart. All of its defenses were taken apart. All of its offenses were taken apart. If people remember the strikes coming from Iran into Israel, uh, they were getting weaker at some point. None of them were hitting. Many of them were not even getting through. Not to mention, many of the ones that were shot were even shot down, either by America, by Israel, or by even like regions around it. Somebody says Israel had complete air superiority within 24 hours. I mean, absolutely. I mean, this was. Uh, I mean, this was it's in some ways this was even faster than like the 6-day war. I mean, you could draw parallels behind those. Like Israel is able to acquire air superiority so quickly that Iran has absolutely no ability to respond. So I don't know where this is even coming from. But let's actually take a look at the deal that is being talked about. So I mentioned there are expected talks coming on Friday in Istanbul about a possible nuclear agreement. One source familiar with the preparation said that the meetings represents the most likely scenario at this stage, but we don't know exactly what it would be. And basically, this would be the first like official contact after the collapse talks during the 12-day war. Now, when it comes to these dealings, from what we've heard from Iran and what we generally hear, is that they will not engage if this is done under pressure or threats, which is not the way Trump does it. Trump always pursues politics with threats. Uh, you would be probably hard to find an exception when it comes to his dealings with Ukraine or Russia. He threatens, sometimes even to both sides to make a deal. And now with Iran, he threatens to Iran before making a deal. Iran says it doesn't want to engage unless this happens. Now, this is an interesting report I've seen from Axios. Axios reports that apparently the U.S. demand is that any agreement that would address Iran's nuclear program would also address missile development and regional activities. While Iran wants to deal just on the nuclear activities, which makes sense. I mean, makes sense from like the sort of the point of view of Iran, because if all of those were addressed, let's say Iran cannot create a nuclear weapon, like has to, have all of that be transparent, all of that has to be watched by Western um, like experts basically on site. They wouldn't be allowed to support Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, or the some of the Iraqi militias. And they wouldn't even be allowed to do any major missile development. I mean, technically, Iran wouldn't be a threat for those things. To a large extent, the threat of Iran would be gone. So Iran cannot take this. It's like saying we want to deal with Hamas that would have them be disarmed and reformed. But that's fundamentally not Hamas. I mean, that's fundamentally not what Hamas stands for. So, in a sense, getting that kind of deal might work, but that's an impossible deal. Iran will never accept that. Iran cannot accept that. And so I'm wondering what this will actually turn into. The fact is that when it comes to having a deal with Iran, if there is a deal with Iran, uh, I mean, there's a lot of variables of how it might look. But let's say it's stronger Obama 2.0. So somehow, it limits the nuclear things, the nuclear enrichment program, just like it was before. And let's say it adds, some limits on missile development and some limits on, them supporting the terrorist organizations in the part. Somebody says they may accept the deal and violate it as soon as they desire. That's absolutely the point. And here is a question, right? When it comes to even uh, when it comes to even like having this deal, does Iran all have to do is like wait? Because remember, right? Even if the deal happens, most likely what would include that deal is funds for Iran. Oh, and I don't even mean direct funds for Iran. I hope we wouldn't stoop that low, but it would most likely involve unfreezing the frozen assets of Iran. So billions and billions of US dollars, which is mostly what the frozen assets are in, would now those are like technically part of Iran. They are apart from Iran selling oil or different things, and but are currently frozen. Basically, Iran cannot access them. Any deal would most likely involve unfreezing those assets. Now, Iran is in currency crisis. Unfreezing, giving them US dollar would be, I mean, I'm not necessarily sure if it could save Iran. I'm not sure if anything could save Iran at this point. They are truly in very detrimental state. But it could give them a lifeline. It could give them time to recover. Not to mention with I mean, with the recent protests they happened, right? They murdered tens of thousands, or I mean, murdered tens of thousands, injured, I mean, what, in like hundreds of thousands, and suppressed like everybody when it comes to standing up to the regime, at what point will you actually have another resistance to the Iranian state? So it's unfortunate, but I don't think we'll see any internal opposition to the current regime in Iran for a long time, unless something happens. So if we want change in Iran, which I've laid out the reasons for it, right? Iran is a threat to America. Iran is a threat to Israel. Iran is a threat to many Western states, not just America and Israel, and generally a threat to the region. Now we have one more video from Trump that I wanted to play. So let's look at this one.
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
So this was yesterday from Mar-a-Lago, from Trump. The question specifically was something like Iran said any attack on Iran would provoke a regional war, implying that states in the region wouldn't be safe. Now, I think in that there was a response, I think both from Saudi Arabia and Jordan. Saudi Arabia came a bit before, I think a few days ago, and Jordan was more recently, that they would not allow any or any attack on Iran to come from its land, since America has bases across the Middle East in many countries, including Jordan and Saudi Arabia. Now, when it comes to when it comes to what Trump says, he says, he wants a deal, but if he doesn't get it, we might have a regional war. He was hinting towards it. Bonnie is asking, why not Israel? I understand nothing from Trump, but Israel has every right and capability. You mean, why doesn't Israel attack? There's a lot of things in play. I think one big reason is outside of, when it comes to 12-day war, and I think I've said it at the time, at the end of it, I don't think there was anything really left to strike. Air defenses were gone. Any sort of missile sites, I think, were gone as far as we're concerned. With the American involvement, the nuclear capabilities were attacked. Now, they weren't, I think, fully destroyed. And I don't know if Israel can fully destroy them from air. So outside of now attacking the oil sites or straight up attacking the cities, straight up attacking, like going full on destructive war against Iran, I don't know how much Iran can really do alone. Somebody says they betrayed the Iranian people. That's definitely the biggest problem. Now, I don't think we necessarily, from self-interest of countries, we don't owe anything to, we owe them, I think, moral support, speaking out for them, as I think you owe to anybody who is living under oppressive regime. But there is no obligation to go save every single peoples from their tyrannical regime. The fact is that the reason why Iran is the regime it is that the people themselves have wanted it. Now, many people are trying to stand up, have tried to stand up. We have said, or specifically Trump has said, that help is coming coming, and the help didn't come. Maybe the help didn't come quickly enough. Maybe Trump will still respond to Iran, but that would still be both miscalculation on his part and I think a terrible thing he had done if he knew he wouldn't know how to respond. There's two things, right? The fact that maybe America wasn't ready to respond, and then it was terrible thing that they were promised, and they went to the streets, maybe to large part because of the promise, and then we basically betrayed that promise. I think that would be the most terrible part. But fundamentally, we have to do it. By we, I mean either America, Israel, or even, the fact that we never talk about EU when it comes to this, or not specifically EU, but European states. European states also have an interest in taking out the Iranian regime. This is clear. The fact that European states are never even in discussions about this, that NATO is never in discussions about this. We are only talking about Israel and United States, despite the fact that many of these countries also have interest in the region, and threats to to many European citizens, or citizens of European countries are also threatened here, is very unfortunate. I mean, I'm oftentimes here, criticizing Trump, or we are often criticizing Trump or Biden or America for weak response. The fact that we don't even talk about European states is really disgusting. I mean, when it comes to European states and European reaction to dealing with dictatorships, to dealing with terrorism, I mean, it's even worse. But that's how far we've gone, that they are not even at the table when it comes to discussing this. So, yeah, I think wrapping out, I hope some sort of a deal doesn't happen. It can, like, this is not even kicking the can down the road. This is like kicking the pipe bomb down the road. Like, you're just waiting for it to explode at some point into your face instead of like trying to do something about this. I think now we are in the best situation to do something about Iran, a situation that we haven't been in a long time, specifically because we discovered how weak Iran is and that the people are willing to stand up to the regime. And we are squandering the chance for nothing in particular. No deal with Iran is beneficial to the US. There is nothing Iran can give to the world, let alone the individual states, that I think would make it desirable to make some sort of a deal. There is nothing. And not to mention, the only reason I think could be some sort of isolation from China. But one way to isolate Iranian regime from China is to get rid of it, so they can no longer have any influence there. But with that, I think we've mostly covered this topic today. So thank you guys for joining me today. We will be back tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Objective. Until then, thank you for joining me today, and bye-bye.